الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد عدد من صلى عليه وصل على سيدنا محمد عدد من لم يصل عليه وصل على سيدنا محمد أضعاف ما صلي عليه. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد فاتح لما أغلق والخاتم لما سبق ناصر الحق بالحق والهادي إلى صراطك المستقيم حق قدره ومقداره العظيم. اللهم صل صلاة كاملة وسلم سلاما تاما على سيدنا محمد الذي تنحل به العقد تنفرج به الكرب تقضى به الحوائج وتنال به الخواتم وتنال به الرغائب حسن الخواتيم واستسقى الغمام بوجه الكريم وعلى آله في كل لمحة ونفس بعد كل معلوم لك. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد طب القلوب ودوائها وعافية الأبدان وشفائها ونور الأبصار وضيائها. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد صلاة الرضا رضا عن أصحابه رضاء الرضا. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد السابق للخلق نوره ورحمة للعالمين ظهوره عدد من مضى من خلقك ومن بقي ومن سعد منهم ومن شقي. اللهم اجعلنا بالصلاة على حبيبك من الفائزين وعلى حوضه من الواردين الشاربين شربة هنيئة مريئة لا نظمأ بعدها أبدا. Inshallah, we are to read the seventh hadith from Imam Nawawi's Arba'in, 40 hadith of Imam Nawawi. If you haven't, the videos should be on Facebook and YouTube of the previous hadiths. Alhamdulillah, Allah granting us another day, granting us to witness Ramadan again and to spend time in the company of Quran and the company of the hadith of Prophet ﷺ. This is a great ni'mah. We are shukr ya Rabbi, alhamdulillah. We're asking support from our teachers. مدد يا رجال الله أعينونا بعون الله وكونوا عونا لنا بالله صلحنا بفضل الله. مدد يا مشايخنا الكرام سيد الشيخ محمد غادر بن مصطفى سيد الشيخ الله الفائز داستاني سيد الشيخ محمد زمعاد الحقاني رجال الله أعينونا بعون الله وكونوا عونا لنا بالله صلحنا بفضل الله. إلهي أنت مقصودي ورضاك مطلوبي. اللهم إني أعوذ بك من أشرك بك شيئا وأنا أعلم وأستغفرك لما لا أعلم. So we have reached the seventh hadith in Imam Nawawi's book Arba'in Nawawiyah, and this hadith is, most Muslims know it by heart and quoted often, and it is from the Jawami' al-Kalim of Prophet ﷺ. It is from, as we said, Prophet ﷺ has been given Jawami' al-Kalim, has been given a special trait that اختصر له الكلام اختصارا, he said, that he can say in 2 words something that you can take wisdom from for ages. You can write books and books, endless books about 2 words that he said, and this hadith is like that. عن أبي رقية تميم بن أوس الداري رضي الله عنه أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال الدين النصيحة. قلنا لمن؟ قال لله ولكتابه ولرسوله ولأئمة المسلمين وعامتهم. رواه مسلم. So عن أبي رقية تميم بن أوس الداري رضي الله عنه, one of the companions, he said that he heard Prophet ﷺ say, religion is nasiha. Religion is advice. To whom the Prophet ﷺ was asked, to whom is this advice? He said, to Allah, to His book, to His messenger, to the leader of the Muslims, and their common folks. Common folk. The common people. Allah. The word nasiha is difficult to translate to English because it is a very broad concept under which many things can be under. Some say it means sincerity in doing. Sincerity is part of that concept. And according to Imam Ibn Salah, nasiha is to truly truly seeking the best in terms of intentions, in terms of actions, for the one who you are advising. Allahumma salli wa sallim barik alayhi. And as we said, it's considered one of the hadiths of Jawami al-Kalim, because Prophet ﷺ, in this hadith, that Sheikh Jamal al-Din Zaragoza say that in this hadith, one brief statement of the Prophet ﷺ described the essence of Islam. So Islam came to show us the way. Everything that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forbade from us for our own benefit. Either it's harmful for our dunya or it's harmful for our akhirah. Similarly, things that we're ordered to do are for our own benefit as well. Either if we live according to Allah's orders, we benefit in dunya, we live a healthy life. Take, for example, harmful stuff from our diet or food, or eliminating for our dunya. You live a healthy life if you don't smoke, if you don't drink, and so forth. These are all ordered by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Similarly, if you refrain from harming your soul, it is good for your akhirah. And if you follow the orders of Allah by praying and fasting, it's all beneficial to you in dunya and in akhirah. So religion is showing us the way to happiness, our own well-being. So at the core of it, religion is for the betterment of the human being. For showing you the way to happiness, to living a healthy, clean life, and to reaching eternal happiness. So advice that's why it is the essence of Islam is to help people, help ourselves, and help people in essence. Just like Prophet ﷺ came to help us all, but as Muslims, we also have the duty to help others to reach happiness, help others to stay away from harmful stuff. And as we know, Sayyidina Muhammad ﷺ said that al-Muslimu man salima al-Muslimuna min lisanihi wa yadihi. That Muslim is the one who Muslims are safeguarded from their hand and their tongue. They're protected. They don't have to fear. If you're a Muslim, a real Muslim, one should not fear other Muslims and all human beings also, even animals, and trees, and now people talking about the environment. So a Muslim, in just the fact of being a Muslim is not to cause harm. Not only that, but to actually benefit others. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad. So in this hadith, Prophet ﷺ said, general statement, religion is to sincerely wish goodness for others, to sincerely help them to achieve that goodness, to sincerely advise them towards that goodness. But he left, that statement is mutlaq, it's open. And then they asked him, okay, for whom is the advice? He says, lillah. طيب, how do you, that's why it's hard to interpret it in English, to translate it to English, because if you say that advice is for Allah, how do you advise Allah? No, that's not what it means. So when it comes in terms of Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad, Allah. So al-nasiha lillah, he said, for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And for Allah, أما النصيحة لله تعالى فمعناها ينصرف إلى الإيمان بالله. So nasiha for Allah is even him, to deny that he has partners, to refrain from denying his attributes, and to attribute to him all attributes of perfection and majesty and beauty, and to sanctify him subhanahu wa ta'ala from any deficiencies, and to um, be obedient to him, and to refrain from disobeying him, and to love for his sake, to dislike and hate for his sake, to to love and be affectionate with those who obey him. Mawadda is not affection; it's to love them, yani, to love those who are obedient to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and to be against those who disobey him, and to acknowledge that everything is from him. All favors we receive are from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and to struggle in his way, to be grateful for everything he's given us, to be sincere in all our affairs, and to also let people know about these realities that we just mentioned, to inform them about Allah's greatness. And to also respect every being, because they are his servants, they are his, he created them, to honor and respect everything. And the reality of what we just described is not advice for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but it's actually advice for oneself, because if you acknowledge this reality, you would reach Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's pleasure and happiness. So what is the nasiha for? And then he said, Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, likitabillahi ta'ala, for Allah's book. So how does one advise for Allah's book? How does one make nasiha for Allah's book? Is that to believe that it's Allah's words, and that he revealed it to Prophet ﷺ, and that no other words in existence that belong to any created being come close or is similar to Allah's word, and that no creature in creation is able to Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad. No creature in creation is able to make to bring such words into existence from himself. There's nothing like these words. And another thing is to honor Quran, to revere the Holy Quran, because it's Allah's words, to recite it as it ought to be recited, as Prophet ﷺ taught us to recite it, and to be khashi, to understand whose words you are reciting. You're not reading a novel or a history book, or you are reciting the words of the one who created you. So to be in that state of khushu' when you recite it, and to make sure that you say the letters of its letters properly. وَالذَّبْ عَنْهُ لِتَأْوِيلِ الْمُحَرِّفِينَ وَتَعَرُّضِ الطَّاعِنِينَ, and to safeguard it, or to protect it from people misinterpreting it, or saying things that are not proper about it. To believe in everything in it, and to الوقوف مع أحكامه, to the rulings in it, to acknowledge and accept, and to learn. To learn its sciences, the sciences in Holy Quran. And the Holy Quran, subhanallah, my sheikh used to say, every letter has 24,000 secrets. And he used to quote the Hadith, Sheikh Nazim used to quote the holy verse, وَلَا رَطْبٍ وَلَا يَابِسٍ إِلَّا فِي كِتَابٍ مُبِينٍ, that there is nothing living or non-living except in this Holy Quran. So this Holy Quran is the we can't say the blueprint, but everything, everything in existence is contained in that book. والاعتبار بمواعظه, and يعني to read it with tadabbur, to try to understand it. Now we live at a time where alhamdulillah it is good to be a hafiz of kitabullah, uh, to be يعني to commit it to memory and to heart is excellent, but the understanding tadabbur uh, is more important. And if you have to choose between the two, it is more important to understand, because this book is not coming to just recite like parrots, hear it and recite it, but it's coming to be it's Allah's words to us, it's Allah's guidance for us, it's Allah's manual for how to live our lives. So it's important to understand it and to apply it in our lives, make the tadabbur too. So, and you could take that from the examples of the Sahaba. They Sahaba used to say, Sayyidina Uthman said that we would learn 10 ayats, 10 verses, we would learn them, understand them, apply them, then commit them to memory. So 10 at a time. And Sayyidina Abdullah ibn Umar al-Abadila, it took him 8 years to memorize Surah Al-Baqarah. And because they used to read it with the tadabbur, and it wasn't just something to recite, it was something to learn, and learn what Allah is communicating to us. So when there's a verse ordering us to do something, they used to go and apply it. When there's a verse saying to us to stay away from that, they used to stay away from that. When there's a verse commanding to reflect and to look into something, they were doing that. And how far are we today from that? We have, alhamdulillah, so many huffaz, but the emphasis on tadabbur is no longer important. People value so much the beautiful recitation and the fact that a person knows it from memory. But what about understanding and applying? And so to learn it, وَالْعَمَلْ بِمُحْكَمِهِ, the clear ayats ordering something or to apply it in our lives. وَالتَّسْلِيمِ لِمُتَشَابِهِ, the things that are mutashabih, that they are not so clear, then to just submit that Allah knows best, and not to dig deep into something we don't understand. Allah. And وَنَشْرَ عُلُومِهِ, to spread its knowledge. خَيْرُكُمْ مَنْ تَعَلَّمَ الْقُرْآنَ وَعَلَّمَ, the best amongst you are those who learn the Holy Quran and teach it. So that is some of the things that نصيحة لكتاب الله. أما النصيحة لرسوله, as for nasiha for, how do you make nasiha for Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam? And he is al-ma'soom, he is sadiq al-masduq, he has no dhanb. How do you advise Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Is by tasdiqihi, to believe in him, to affirm his message, to believe in everything he brought, to obey him in whatever he ordered us to do or to stay away from, to support him living or after he passed away, to be against those who are enemies to him, and to be friend and to those who are friends, to those who love him and support him. وَإِعْظَامُ حَقِّهِ وَتَوْقِيرِهِ, and to revere him, to make his to إعظام حقه, to understand first of all his right on us as his ummah and for all of humanity, and to make it grand in ourselves that the rights of Prophet ﷺ, توقيري, to respect him, to revere him, to honor him, to إحياء طريقته وسنته, to bring alive his way and his sunnah. And especially at this time, أحيا سنتي عند فساد أمتي فله أجر 70 شهيد. It's a hadith that says, whoever brings to life my sunnah at the time where my ummah has been corrupted, he has the rewards of 70 martyrs. وَبَثُّ دَعْوَتِهِ, and to spread his message that he brought to humanity, his message of mercy, his message that he wants to save humanity from a bad end, to spread his way, to refute any accusation against him and against his sunnah. Now we live at a time where people belittle now there's in the Muslim world, and you could see it if you if you watch Arabic TV sometimes, um, especially in you see this whole accusation now, this whole campaign to belittle Prophet's Sunnah, and there's a whole campaign they call them the Qur'ani people, where they say, you know, we accept everything is in the Holy Quran, but with Prophet ﷺ, we don't have to. We yani, and they belittle, they try to find holes in books of Sahih, like Sahih Bukhari and Sahih Muslim, and their goal is actually to destroy the whole religion and to destroy the entire. To also, yani, once you put doubts in people's minds and hearts about the Sunnah of Prophet ﷺ, and he is لا ينطق عن الهوى وما ينطق عن الهوى إن هو إلا وحي يوحى. And we as Muslims, we have to believe that everything he said and taught is revelation. So once they make doubt about what Prophet ﷺ, then the next thing is the Holy Quran, because he is the one that interpreted the Quran. وَأَنزَلْنَا إِلَيْكَ الذِّكْرَ لِتُبَيِّنَ لِلنَّاسِ مَا نُزِّلَ إِلَيْهِمْ. We have revealed to you this dhikr, al-Quran, so that you clarify and teach humanity to understand this book. So it is very important to ijlal, to anything Prophet ﷺ said, to put it on our head and not dare. Now we live at a time of such ignorance that after you be in a conversation, yani it's time, subhanallah, it's almost time to run away. You know, khayru mal al-Muslim, the hadith where the best wealth of the Muslim is to have some sheep flock and to run away from people. Because now, even amongst Muslims, you'd be talking to Muslims and you say, Prophet ﷺ said, and they say, I don't believe it, I don't accept it. Or not even worse, I don't, my opinion is better. I do this. Oh, he does this, I don't accept it. I do this. And we live at such a time of ignorance where people, first of all, don't understand and don't give Prophet ﷺ his proper right. And because they don't give Prophet his proper right, they don't put value to his teaching. Therefore, and they can't, you know, so it is important, al-nasiha li Rasulillah. It's important to support him, to honor him, to revere him, to honor everything he said. Maulana Sheikh Nazim used to get upset sometimes with people if they ask, oh, is this hadith da'if? He says, you are da'if, he would say. And he would even upset with the notion that people would put the two together, hadith and da'if, that Prophet's saying could be weak. Yani it is a jurist term. We're not saying anything about the science of hadith, but yani, my teacher was cringing almost that don't say something negative about Prophet's saying. Even you could say he would say, yani, you could say the isnad is da'if, but not the actual hadith. And that is what is meant by hadith da'if, is that there's some issue with its isnad, or so that is for Prophet. And we can say so much about nasiha for Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, because yani, if you want to put your finger on one issue where we're all Muslims now, the Ummah of Islam is struggling because of one ailment, and that is that we have stopped giving Prophet ﷺ his proper and due right on us as Muslims. Now, This is for Prophet ﷺ. And another thing for Prophet ﷺ is to honor everything that he honored in and everything connected to him. So his family must be also loved and respected. His companions must be loved and respected and honored because they are the companions of Rasulullah. Because he loved them, because he loved his family, they must be honored and loved. So this is also from Nasiha to Prophet ﷺ. And to refrain from Ahlul Bid'ah. Anyone who tries to bring something contrary to his teaching in terms of religion must be shunned. Okay, what about nasiha for A'immat al-Muslimin, to the leaders of Muslims? How do we give nasiha to them? And that is by helping them to do right, to do haqq, to obey them in haqq, to order them, to give them good advice, to do good and stay away from things that are not accepted, and to remind them gently, because leaders, yani, you have to be extra gentle in bringing something to their attention if they're not doing something right. And now we have yani, now is the age of tyrants, and we're just talking about leaders, because leaders come from where? Leaders come from the people. So the corruption is filling the earth, and Muslims, a lot of Muslims, they look to hang all their problems onto their leaders. But really, I mean, if you go to uh, how are we as Muslims living in our societies? Are we living according to the guidance of Quran and Sunnah um, in our own personal lives, as communities, as societies? And then we can talk about whether our leaders are reflecting those values that we are living. But if you have a whole society living a life without Islamic values, and then they look and say, well, our problems are from our leaders. Well, your leaders are from you. كما تكونوا يولى عليكم, as Prophet ﷺ, as you are, you will be given leaders. So for us, when we have a leader, we have to help them as much as we can to do right, remind them gently, remind them about something that they overlooked, and remind them if there are Muslims being wronged in their ra'iyah amongst their people, and to not go against them, to remove them, يعني not to rebel. And subhanallah, يعني now you see we had the Arab Spring. I don't want to talk too much about it, but a lot of times rebellion, maybe there is some harm coming from the leaders at some level, but when you some of these when they rebel, more harm actually comes. Sometimes whole countries are destroyed and burning because they wanted to change the leader by force, and that leader didn't want to be changed, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had different plans, and they end up burning the whole country. Allah, Allah. And قال الخطابي من نصيحة الصلاة خلف, to pray behind them, to struggle with them if they are fighting an outside enemy, to not go against them with the sword, to not tell them things, يعني just compliment them because without being truthful. And then the final thing is to advise the common people. to be a person in the community who, first of all, doesn't harm anyone, second of all, tries to benefit everyone around them. And to a person loves, a Muslim loves for himself, love for others what he loves for himself. To treat people with that scale. To if you see something wrong, you can advise them to improve. Uh, don't go in front of people and do it. Take them aside privately, gently. If if they ask you for advice, to give them proper advice, to give them truthful advice, to be truthful with the fellow Muslims, to wish what is best for them, to help them when they need help, and so forth, all the good manners. Because Islam came, look, we are all beneficiaries by what Prophet ﷺ brought us from his Lord. And then what we're receiving now is built on 1400 of people striving to benefit others. It's all from beginning to end. The companions, how much they struggled during the life of Prophet, after Prophet ﷺ, to benefit humanity, to spread that light. And then the tabi'een, tabi'een, up till our day. All the great scholars that clarify things for our understanding, that came throughout the ages in Hadith, in fiqh, in tafsir, in nahu, in we are all beneficiaries in recitation of the Quran. We are all beneficiaries of their great sacrifices and work. As we were mentioning, Imam Nawawi himself passed away at the age of 45. Now, look, we are sitting here reading a book that he put together, and all of us benefiting those, and not just us. How many thousands and thousands of people are benefiting him throughout the ages because of something they do? And this is nasiha for people. So we have to try to be like that, to benefit others as much as we can, to help them stay away from harm, and to be great examples. We live in a non-Muslim country. The best way to show people what the greatness of Islam is through the way we live and how we apply it on ourselves. And so Allah make us like that, means for people to be guided. من الله التوفيق بحرمة الحبيب بحرمة الفاتحة. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته.